Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Some more. Just get some more.
Why, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king, and home of the Fat Boy Tasting Notes. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. We are getting, I think we're going to be done with Mitch's Wood Influence series tonight. He sent us so many bottles, it's overflowed into a part B, at least in the 4th episode. And let's be honest, I think part 2 should have been 2 nights. But you know what? That was okay to go to bed nice and ready and happy. So we have 3 whiskeys left that Mitch is going to be talking about tonight that have odd flavors, not necessarily weird, not necessarily bad, just unique things, odd things. Is that right, Mitch?
Yeah, just not normal.
Not normal. Mike, how are you feeling down there?
I'm in as they said in Short Circuit, I am standing here beside myself waiting for this. And I'm doing that without the accent for obvious reasons.
Oh, well, fair enough. Thank you for not getting us in trouble, sir.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, do you want to tell people about the Bar Cart Co-op?
I would love to tell people about the Bar Cart Co-op. There it is. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey and other distilled spirits public. Bar Cart Co-op YouTube and Facebook pages have information about upcoming and past special shows, which happen about every quarter. From blind tastings to distiller panels to discussions of special collaborations and the usage of unique grains. Bar Cart Co-op has educational and fun episodes for your enjoyment. Speaking of which, I believe it is this coming week, this Wednesday or next Wednesday, there's going to be a live Bar Cart Co-op show, which is going to cover not only some brandies from Wisconsin, Texas, and maybe in between, but also there will be a show or part of that tasting some 3 ryes from Wallersheim that are the same rye mash bill, the only difference being 3 totally different kinds of yeast. And I believe all 3 of us got to try all 3 of those at Distill America, and yummy. All right, moving on. 2 of them. You got to try 2 of them?
I was rooting for number 2. I think I liked number 2 over 3. I think that was the one I liked the best.
All right, so we have Distillers Talk, which is the oldest show in the group. It's hosted by Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. It's a conversation with people from distilleries and distillery adjacent that gets into the weeds with their interviews. New episodes arrive at the end of the work week. And if Distillers Talk is not nerdy enough, check out One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. This is the show where Alan Bishop answers any questions about distilling and puts them to the test. It could be individual grains, mash bills, equipment, and methodology. New episodes come out randomly, so subscribe. And there will be, I don't know if this is going to be a One Piece at a Time post, but there is going to be tomorrow night a live posting from the Mount Vernon Distillery. Yeah. That will be with Alan and Brian Cushing, the Victorian Bar Room. So that should be pretty interesting. Then we have, speaking of Wednesdays, because it's coming up, at Bourbon Turntable, where they mix the love of music with the love of whiskey. Kevin and Drew have a conversation with musicians, writers, distillery folk, and common folks like us about music and whiskey. It releases every Wednesday on all your platforms, including YouTube. Then there is If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is a show about the spirits and paranormal among us, as well as the unexplained and spiritual, or high strangeness, as Alan says. Subscribe on Spotify to get all 3 seasons. And there was a very special October onslaught of cool episodes delving into old folklore stories, which was very interesting. Especially I found the Snow White to be extremely interesting, all the different versions of that. And the newest one to the Bar Cart Co-op group is the Whiskey Ring Podcast, hosted by David Levine. This is where David talks with people in the industry and adjacent who he finds interesting. from the unknown to the known, David likes to get into the weeds with his guests. And not a bar cart, but definitely a friend of the show and friend of everybody. I did want to make sure to bring this one up. So we're trying to pass this one around.
Mm-hmm.
This link right here for anyone who can, please go to this link, check it out. We'll pop it up again in the show. This is our friend and yours, the wrench among wrenches among many channels across here, Miss Emily Chambers. Emily is doing I'll call it a fundraiser. I know that there's not proper terminology, and she will correct me, as she is wont to do. But she is trying to get her two-pronged thing here. One is her old vehicle needs to be taken away immediately, but it also could possibly be repurposed for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But these things cost money. So this is, if you can donate any small amount, she has an estimate of what it's going to take to do that. And not all of us have met Emily in person. Maybe not many. We have spoken with her a few times, but she is our friend, and she is doing something really good here. And it's it's getting out of her hair, but she's also going to try to do the right thing and make this thing have a new life one way or another. So if you can, please go to the link, donate, help somebody out.
Yes.
Don't take mobility for granted, as we do.
Exactly. And excellent for paying it forward and trying to repurpose it for someone else. So that's just very selfless.
Emily, tell me if I did all right.
So
feel free to cuss.
Feel free to cuss.
Suddenly a phone rings in the background.
Yeah. I've already had McDonald's door dashed. I'm going to have a door dashed murderer, or not a murder. She wouldn't murder. She'd have someone come and slap me.
I hear it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. It's like those telegrams. It's kind of similar to that, but they film them now for the person so that.
Oh, if you could only get slapograms. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Neil, you're drinking Stumpy's back. Yeah, that is well worth it.
Yes. Yeah, and that's another thing.
Yep.
I need to look this up. You can probably find information up on Facebook, or if someone out there has it and can post it in the chat. They are doing, aside from Rick would. I only met Rick a few times, but he definitely earned the moniker, the legend. Super nice guy. Rick passed away fighting ALS.
Mm-hmm.
There is, aside from the services and everything were last week, there is his daughter is auctioning off a lot of his bottles. So, and it's going to be a fundraiser for, I think mostly for ALS, might be for, if they have to cover anything else. I'm sure medical expenses are going to be part of it. Mm-hmm. Rick had a lot of whiskey. Rick was, I think one of the reasons that he got the title, the legend, was if he went in and he liked a bottle of whiskey, he bought a case of it. And my first interaction, aside from doing online tastings with Rick, was he had contacted me out of the blue. We'd never met before. Guy contacted me out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to French Lick," and it was when the Iconoclast came out. He goes, "I'm going there." He goes, "If you want, I'll bring stuff back for you, so you don't have to drive all the way there, and then you can just meet me sometime in St. Louis." So he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to reach out to me, someone who'd never met in person, but he did. I did try to get Jolie, because she was still working there at the time. She knew Rick, and I was trying to get her to write cocaine on the box, but she didn't do it. I really, really, really wanted her to do it because I think it would have been a lot of fun. But anyway, met Rick, did a bottle exchange and stuff like that, and had a couple other interactions with him at Stumpy's and other stuff. Again, super, super nice, good guy, and as like with a lot of diseases and stuff, some of them are far worse than others, and ALS is horrible. So. Yes, someone, if they got the link, please post that on her, because I'd like to make sure you can. I think they're going to make it so you can bid, maybe, or if you know some people that are going to be there, you could bid. I think either way, but yeah.
And there'll be some unique stuff if they're going through what he had, because he said, he didn't just do one. He's like, well, if I like it, I'm not coming back for just that.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure he had it.
So
He was, again, super, super nice guy.
All right, Mitch, we're gonna turn it over to you.
On that lovely note.
No, we're switching gears. We're gonna roll back into some of the other whiskey and stuff that everyone would have enjoyed and the odd flavors. And right now, I see you got us going with something that says brew.
Right. So I will go ahead and spoil some of it. This is a distilled beer.
Aren't they all?
Yeah. Come on now. What the hook is this?
So that's what I'll start with. I won't tell you what beer they distilled or what they finished it in, but it's very obviously going to be substantially different from the brandies and whiskeys we've been having thus far.
Okay.
Okay.
So, can you tell us who it's from? Or do you want to wait?
Or do you want to wait?
I'd like to wait and kind of reveal it all together, if at all possible.
Very nice.
Mitch.
I know. What can I say? I'm just a tease.
Well, it's malty, but it's not super heavy. At least, maybe not for the first one we're having tonight, but.
Oh.
Light caramel. Like a leathery note. Did you ever worry like your nose isn't working quite properly for a second? Like you're a little far into the glass. And you're not quite getting as much as I should be. Oh, damn, Shannon's knocking out a level 3. Well, good for you.
You got to wear that hardware.
The
Also, it's
pins. You gotta watch
Iron
those pins.
Root's anniversary this weekend, too.
Yeah, I saw
true.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And you might get a chance to pick from Jonathan's stash, which I think is pretty neat.
I wish I could go.
I honestly thought about it, but Morgan and I are doing Christmas photos this weekend because I was like, I got a lot of travel points. Like, I could make this work. Like, just fly down there and be like, what's up? This is amazing. Bye. Leave. But
I want to see these Christmas photos.
yeah, so we're trying to pick out the outfits, and we got matching pajamas last Christmas, so it might be us in matching pajamas.
Oh, I hope they had feet on them. Did they?
No, but we did get matching slippers. So my slippers had my dog's face on them, and her slippers had her cat's face on them. So
like
super cute things, right?
Just not those. What do they call those pajamas? The union suits where they got the butt flap that comes down.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are doing the over shoulder look.
No.
The dog's tugging at it for a second.
Yeah. Oh, like Norman Rockwell. The dog's trying to pull your pajamas off.
Yeah, we don't need to teach him how to take clothes off of folks. He already likes to play tug of war with his toys, so let's not teach him that underwear and or pants.
So I'm just seeing Christmas go horribly wrong.
Next time someone comes over to my house, gets a little wettled, suddenly, I don't know what happened to my pants, and it's like, oh no, like this is not okay.
Someone gets a little wettled. Just oh, okay. Mike, what are you getting on the nose on this one?
Hold on. I got one more here to write down.
Was a little distracting.
Nutmeggy.
Well, sir, yeah, I was trying to
like a flat,
It's oil. I mean, it's really oily. Its nose is more like it's finished than it is distilled beer.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting, like, right off the bat, cooked caramel, leather glove, and the last one I was getting was butter cake. I'm really curious what kind of.
I'm also getting on this just after being in here a bit. Like a date and a nutmeg. Like a titch of a fig Newton.
I want that. One of these times I'm going to that store. When I go there, I've got to visit that store. I've gotten stuff from there, but I've not visited the store itself.
Which store is that?
Kentucky for Kentucky.
Oh, if only Funtown Mountain was still open, they would have gotten it.
Funtown Mountain.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by this. What was Funtown Mountain? Is this like an old Six Flags version that,
it was called Guntown Mountain before, right? That was the first. Yeah.
Originally, it was Guntown Mountain, so it was like kind of a Western-ish themed place to go with your kids, and then it rebranded to Funtown Mountain, and then it rebranded to Closed.
Okay.
And there was a little bit of drama around that.
Yeah, that was one of the founders of Lebowski Fest had bought it, and he had an episode, and that's one of the reasons they've done fundraisers for mental health. But he had an episode and started destroying his own stuff, and
some of his stuff was unblown.
Yeah, metaphorically and physically destroying things, I guess, or however you want to put that. And it was very public too. He was really public about it on Facebook and stuff. And yeah, so which is too bad. But
so it started out as what? Gun Mountain?
Guntown Mountain.
Guntown Mountain. That sounds like there's like a fort we had in Wisconsin Dells here. It was like a little mini city. And it had a guy named Black Bart, who was like the evil guy in the city. And you were you're going to win something if you could capture Black Bart. So throughout the day, he'd pop out at different places. Well, my brother and sister tracked him down and followed him into the dressing room and like jumped out and with their guns and said they got him, and they scared the shit out of him and the other people who were actually working there. They never won a prize at all. They got kind of escorted out, and I felt that was shady. I'm like, you should at least win something if you got past security into the dressing rooms.
Yeah. So growing up in North Carolina, we had Tweetsie Railroad. That was our like southern thing. So they had like an old railroad they turned into kind of a fairground plus amusement park with permanent Western themes and buildings.
I don't know about this. I like part of it, but then I get like this like a little hoppy note that's like gripping my tongue. It's not like as sharp as like a hops note, but it's kind of clingy. It's got a little tanniny note to it. I'm going to be really confused as to what this is in the end.
So you've had it before.
I'm fine.
have we both had it before?
No, he had it at my basement bar.
It's got a...
Was he wettled at the time that he had it?
Oh, yes, probably.
It was after we went to Copper and Kings. So it was the day I showed up with a water bottle and
liquid IV.
Yeah, liquid IV, and I was like, "You're gonna need this, like right now."
And as I'm pouring it into the thing as we're starting the tour, and I'm shaking it up, he looks over at me and he looks at Mitch. Haven't you been on this tour before? He's like, oh yeah, several times. That's why I had him started on this, and I was like, yep, I know what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, we're not here to play. Not going to say I'm a professional at it, but I did spend money to do it, so technically I am.
Ooh, Morgan, I went to Cedar Point in Ohio. That was kind of fun, but I felt like it was starting to go downhill, but so was Six Flags, so a bunch of those other ones in that realm.
So is this I guess what is just American whiskey? That's what's classified as?
So technically it's not even an American whiskey because it had hops in it. So this is just a distilled spirit specialty. They call it a brewski, right? Because
I'm not getting the hops. I get it at the very end is where I'm getting that little bit of hop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's very, very slight.
Mine's in the middle of my tongue and on the bottom where I get the hops, and it's pops up for a second, but it's in the mix of other flavors. And like you said, then it's more on the finish where I get it a little bit there too. Hold on here. I'm sorry, I wasn't really going for flavors. It just had the weird wash of them in the middle.
Right. So this is Bowen Luke Brewski. So this is actually made by Copper and Kings.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is Bowen Luke is an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels. And what happened was some of it did not turn out amazing. So they distilled it over at Copper and Kings. And then after they distilled it, they aged it again in a used bourbon barrel, but they replaced the heads with brandy heads. So it would have been their brandy heads. So it would have been a used bourbon barrel that had been used as a brandy barrel.
So even if it's their brandy, which is usually a great brandy, I still was getting a little bit of like an apricot, and I guess you could say like a hint of that, but I don't know, man. The middle is interesting.
So this is one of those things where, for me, every time I sip it, it's different.
I was getting that the second time in, and I'm really curious what's the ABV on it, because I got a feeling it's higher than I think it is.
Yeah, there's a little pieces.
It
that
is
rack
55.
Yeah.
So it's 110 proof.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it doesn't drink like that, but you got a little, just the titch of the
No.
bourbon at points where
No.
it's like,
No.
But there's a little creaminess to it in the middle.
Right.
I like it. I think that the thing for me, it's everything but the finish, because the finish doesn't live up to the other parts to me, except what I'm left with the finish is there was just that little bit of hop, but I'm left with a creaminess in my mouth. Like, that's it.
Yeah, but
And
everything else, I get what you mean. It kind of dropped off, though. It's like you got left with a flat cream soda, almost. Like not even like the remnants of it.
It's just, it's still there.
So for me, right, well, it's a malt, technically, like it would be a malt whiskey, which, in my opinion, right, mouthfeel on barley is just exponentially better than, rye and corn. So that's where a lot of that comes from. However, if you go in there searching for brandy or bourbon notes, you find them. And they're not always in the same spot when I drink it. And I find that very interesting.
I'll give you that. Like I said, there's different parts of it where it kind of comes to, like you said, the second or third, fourth time you go in for a sip. You have different parts where different parts kind of stand out along the journey.
I could really see needing to have quite a few glasses of this to try to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like that's
Absolutely.
the Imperial Stout thing. I would have, like you said, it drinks more like a finished whiskey.
Let's make Mitch big.
Yeah.
So the
That's a
problem
cool
with this,
bottle.
gorgeous, like Copper and Kings does amazing art, but it's 200 milliliters. So it takes about one bottle to figure it out. And they don't make it anymore. So it is what it is.
All
They
right.
released a second edition, and it is nothing like that whatsoever.
Really?
It
Did
is
they do the same things or different? Okay.
different things.
Okay, then that's fair.
It is mint toothpaste, like
Ooh.
aggressive mint toothpaste.
Thank you for not giving us that one.
With orange
No
juice.
With orange juice. It's the weirdest gin ever. No. We have had one or two of those.
I mean,
97
James May did
botanicals.
make a gin, a parsnip gin. So
Yeah. I like to try his stuff. I think it would be interesting because he's so, probably an overused word for him, pedantic, but he would have reasoning for why he made that.
Mhm.
And that's kind of I like him. I like watching it, even just his boring stuff. I'm going to take something apart, put it back together, and I'm going to tell you facts about everything that I touch on this whole thing. And I actually find that very entertaining. So,
Have you seen his cooking show on Amazon?
I haven't seen the cooking show.
I quite like it.
I
I got my
like
girlfriend to watch it with me, so that's fun. But
his travel ones were good. Japan and Italy,
we
really
mentioned
good.
a little bit of Japan, but Japan I think is weirding Morgan out a little bit
Oh,
because
it got weird. Several very laugh out loud parts to it, but just how he is himself in Japan, and how he's just sometimes acts like a toddler discovering things, and then he'll just beat it to death with facts. And and Italy's great, but the scenery, the cinematography in both of those they're excellent.
Yeah. The Cook. So every episode they try and make him test a gadget, and some of them he loves, and other ones I hate to spoil the bit, but he tries to use it, and then he'll just be like, "Huh, that doesn't seem to," and then just throws the whole thing away just immediately, and he's like, "Well, moving on," and that's just. He either loves it or it just goes straight into the trash can, which I quite enjoy.
I kind of like that answer. Whew. All right, here. Try to loosen up my nose again before we move on here. That one was
So
right.
Now for something completely different.
good. I like completely different.
So this is a
Eric
rye. So this is an MGP rye.
Wait, are we doing rye or 4?
Rye. 4 is third.
4 is third, so we're doing rye. Okay.
Yes.
So it's an MGP rye. This one's 57% ABV. Finished in 2 different barrels. And it makes a pretty wild whiskey.
Well, I'm getting fruitiness on the nose on the second half, but it's like a raspberry for me and something else, like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. And a little bit of like a cherry cough drop. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. I was getting like cough drop, or like if you put a little bit of snow cone flavoring in MGP rye. That's like the first whiff that I got.
The syrup.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Maybe the blue snow cone where it's raspberry. Okay, but now my brain's trying to go with what barrels did you use to get here without tasting it?
Sorry. So technically the 3. So 3 barrels. However, 2 of them are the interesting ones.
Okay. Vanilla. Not so much on the caramel for me. That's a little bit lighter in the background, really almost not so much, but like a vanilla cream, raspberry tart almost. But I'm not getting enough baking note for it. This is interesting. This is a rye?
This is a rye. Unless they lied about everything on the bottle, which is possible.
Nobody in whiskey does that. Oh.
Gears are turning.
Celery.
Celery?
The freshness, I see what you mean. Was that when you opened
No, yeah, it's just that fresh, watery celery, but it's almost like
There's a moment there where I got pepper.
Yeah, it's like a Bloody Mary. It's like a little bit where I was just reminiscent of Bloody Mary.
Yep, but then it's also got like these sweeter flavors on the finish. What I was talking about on the nose is on the finish here.
So unfortunately, knowing what the barrels are R that it's finished in really clouds my judgment, and I don't get celery.
Yeah.
The second time in, no, but I still get there's a vegetal.
That's fair.
But I'm getting like this creamy raspberry dominant vanilla frosting thing going on. And like I'm glad on the taste and the palate when I was halfway through, that's where I got some of the spice. I was hoping that's where the rye would kind of come in. And it kind of throws you for a sideways loop a little bit. And on the first entry, I get like the meringue of a lemon meringue pie. Just on the first front bit of my tongue.
I gotta have more of this.
Right. So the first little ones were interesting in how they were, disparate from the base, right? Like you could pick out the differences. These are just wild.
Oh,
So,
yeah. This is a step
Very
outside the
different.
box. And it's just the finish is a little bit of lingering slight heat, light barrel note. Yeah, that's pretty close, Shannon. It does feel like a Bloody Mary that has some other stuff in it. If you want to go the Bloody Mary route, you could go that creaminess could be like mozzarella cheese in a Bloody Mary, but I think it's the raspberry thing that's making me lean the other way.
See,
Man, I want to go back to Silverman's so bad, or Slobberman's, whatever it's called.
Solomons, hell yeah.
Yeah, that one.
see, I didn't get into Bloody Marys. I can't even talk until pretty recently. Every other time it was like with gin and tonics. Everyone's try this one, and then go to those places where they put the whole buffet line in your glass. And it's like, well, where's the drink? And I started doing these ones very simple with the Zing Zang spicy and mezcal.
Mm.
Oh, indeed.
Bloody Maria.
It's
Well, I will say, I found a secret to Bloody Marys that I think really takes them up a notch.
Okay.
Little bit of olive juice from the jar.
ooh.
Okay, well,
There's
typically
about-
pickle juice is one that happens here, so I'm intrigued by the olive
I put
juice.
pickles in mine too, but I put like straight pickles, but olive juice.
Olive
There's
juice.
just something about that, like the salty umami-ness of olives that I think
like where your head's at.
really well.
I do. Are you using black or the typical green that you have?
I use whatever olives are open.
Whatever is
So
there.
I really like olives, so I have like 12 jars of olives at any one time, and like 6 of them are different flavors. So
And
I
Shannon,
will say, best
I was the
olive-
same way.
mhm.
Go ahead.
I will
Oh.
say the best olives I've ever had in my life are the almond stuffed green olives. It's fantastic.
I could maybe see that. That's neat. The one I use is for quick Bloody Marys is Absolute Citron, and then the V8 Bloody Mary mix. About 4 or 5 shakes of Worcestershire and some celery salt on top.
When we were camping a couple weeks ago, we made the smoky Bloody Marys, and then one of my friends had brought some of his homemade salsa, and he's like, in the morning, he's like, and he took a couple spoonfuls of the salsa and he put it in with the Bloody Mary with the mezcal, whip that up. That was pretty darn tasty. Yeah.
So ours at the house is like Zing Zang, olive juice, sriracha, vodka, and then just regular vodka because Morgan and I both can't handle too much heat. And then like olives and pickles. And then if we have any like cubes of cheese, we'll throw those in there.
Ooh.
But Bloody Marys are not what we're drinking.
No.
So,
Can we all rule out the celery? How did the celery ever become involved? And it shouldn't have. That's just the way I feel about Bloody Marys.
It's an accessory.
It's not. It's a drink stir. And I would prefer a pickle, thank
way
you.
to stir your drink.
And I would take a pickle any day over that stringy garbage. Sorry.
All right. I'm only gonna take one more quick sip of this because I want to save some of this to hit it later by itself. This is I like this.
Yeah, this
It's
one's
good. I like it. Morgan likes it. So this is a Good Times Rye. So
Okay.
they're out there at Whiskey Thief.
Mm-hmm.
So this is.
Are they still there though?
I have no idea. The last time I was there, they were, but I have.
There's like a cherry bitters. What are 3 barrels? I feel like one's a cherry bitters barrel or something.
Not quite. So the first barrel is just a regular toasted oak barrel. So nothing fancy there. The second barrel is a coconut rum barrel. And the third barrel is a bourbon cacao nib barrel.
Okay, that I can see, but the coconut,
So the
I didn't
coconut
really
rum,
get much of that. And I'm usually very, I don't want to say sensitive, but I can usually pick out coconut. And I
So
don't.
what's the name of this? That's what I'm curious.
toasted chocolate coconut.
Interesting.
Oh, sometimes they pick really effed up names. So
Yes, I know. Got it.
does it have a tater sticker?
No, so I got this one at the distillery. So this is just a regular old, whatever one. I only have like 2 bottles with tater stickers on them.
And yes, Emily, if it has the V8 in it, it is kind of a salad. You're getting your vegetables for the day.
But I will say, so I used to have bacon vodka, which sounds disgusting and kind of is, but in a Bloody Mary, absolutely fantastic.
I agree with you on that because I don't like it by itself at all in any way, shape, or form. But if you slide it into a Bloody Mary, it does work so well. The other thing, instead of like a beef stick, which you do get in Wisconsin a lot of times, let's be frankly honest, 2 strips of bacon is another lovely thing to throw in a Bloody Mary.
Absolutely.
It's got to be thick cut, though. You don't want the thing falling apart and having that be at the bottom, not be able to get it.
Well, my notes are way off on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to go back and have this all by itself.
That's
What?
the fun part about this, right? Like,
Oh, I know.
it's
I mean, my
interesting
notes
to
are my
see,
notes, but
like, without the suggestion, what people like get.
Yeah. Because
chocolate doesn't always present as chocolate, right? And all those other like toasty notes don't always present as like toasted oak.
I'm just surprised how much I thought raspberry cream, and I'm still going to stand by that to some extent, because that was hell.
very interesting.
So the third one is 4. And I will say, when I cracked this open, this was one of the 3 whiskeys that I would never drink again. And I was wrong, because I still drink it to this day.
Oh, okay. You had me on this for a second. I'm like, wait.
But I did take it down to Texas with me, last year for the Mooch Fest. And who was it? Greg Thomas Siltiva. I can't remember his last name. He was there with his wife or girlfriend. I don't remember which. And I brought a bunch of weird stuff, and they were like, "Give me the weirdest thing you got." And I pulled this out, and they were like, "This is amazing." And they personally drank more of this bottle than I have.
Well, and Gene's done a couple. Worked at a Total Wine and a couple other places as well too. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What the hell are you throwing me? This is whiskey?
This is whiskey. This is a bourbon, and it's clocking in at 60.15% ABV.
This is a very herbal bourbon.
Yes. So this is finished in 2 barrels.
Okay. Well, I'm guessing one's a gin.
And I believe both of these barrels are from Copper and Kings, actually.
Ooh, now you got me thinking about which gin it is, because they had a citrus gin that was very nice. But no, this smells like a fucking gin to me. Sorry. Just every time I'm coming in, I'm getting juniper, some lighter lemon. But okay, now I'm finally getting in here deeper. I'm getting some of the barrel note, a little vanilla, but that smells like a gin coming up. I gotta back up for a second. Mike, you give some notes. I gotta let my nose clear out. Paul, good to see you. Sorry, I was in there too deep.
See, I was definitely getting lemon, and I'm getting like a kind of lemon heads on the palate.
Oh, you even went into it? I couldn't. You're gonna have to give me a second.
You kept saying gin, and every time you said the word gin, I was getting a whiff. I'm like, oh, whatever. It's like, shut up.
Sorry. All right.
I mean, I totally get that. I totally do, because it's very herbal and floral as far as like how it was presenting on the nose. But then I say that sip on the palate, and I'm like, that's lemon heads.
I think it opens up into lemon heads and a little bit of a grassy note. It's tighter up front the palate as it fades away really is.
Like a toiger.
The finish is very lemon heady. Front half, not so much. Oof.
Also
Okay.
drinks below the proof.
Yeah. So I would say all of these drink below proof, personally. I think that's something that finishing does very well. Like, it takes a lot of that aggression or alcohol aggression out of your drink, because it's going back into that, Pat, you do not look like you're having fun. But
too ginny, junipery.
It's
me on the sides.
Yeah, that charcoal filtering, right? It's basically doing the charcoal filtering, right? That Tennessee whiskey is known for when you finish, right? It's giving you a little smoother drink.
I'm gonna let Mike comment because the sides of my tongue just have that on there, and I can't get past that right now.
That's fair.
It is very different. Like you're saying, it's a bourbon. It's like, this is a bourbon, but
I still don't kind of believe you.
I'm also still, I'm thinking, like, what would you, if you were going to use this in a cocktail, I'm thinking, what would you use this as, Sipping it by itself is interesting. It is very interesting.
To me, this is a 120 proof cocktail in a glass.
Really? This is 60%.
120.3.
I wouldn't have guessed that. That part I would have been really far off on that. Oh, you made a cotton candy gin at Dancing Goat.
I'm a little jealous of that.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of that too. I might want to know that recipe.
Me too. I want to get up to that.
So,
all right.
So this is called 4 because it is from 4Gate. This is batch 2, Outer Loop Orbit. So this is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in orange curacao and gin barrels.
I like where they thought they were going with the orange curacao, but they let it in the gin for me. They let it in the gin barrels too long. Like for me, that it really sucked that up comparatively. And maybe it was the style of gin, because I have had other ones that I've been much more open to, but this one not so much for me. Sorry. I don't mind the ride, but like there's some notes in there for me that just do not have me, and I'm not putting that in my blend for this week.
That's fine. But yeah, so this is about an exercise in restraint, right? Because like Mike got lemon heads and Pat got gin. And right, the only two places that could come from is the gin barrel. Orange curacao can add sweetness, orange doesn't really add too much lemon normally. So balance is your friend. But if you're a gin drinker, right, this probably does taste balanced to you because you're used to those flavors. So just like you can, make a salsa that's too hot if you're used to, eating a lot of hot peppers pretty easily, and then someone comes along and they're like, "Ooh, salsa! Hey, oh my God, my mouth is on fire." You can do the same thing with your finishing barrels. Like you'll be like, "Oh, this is great! Like, perfect balance." And then someone who comes along and doesn't drink a lot of gin, they're like, "Why does this taste like pine sol?" So
this is exactly that exercise and that thought is exactly why you both are here. Because I may say something and other people may have a completely different reaction. And it's good I feel like it's good to feel, I don't want to say be put in check, but at least kind of search out some of the other things. When Mike said lemon, I was like, okay, it does, especially on the finish more so for me. That's most of what's left over is that kind of like lemon head feel to it, which is weird because I was getting so much of the gin beforehand to have that like cut off and switch over. I mean, juniper. That one is interesting. There's a lot going on to it, but
yeah, I got a couple questions for you, Mitch. So
right.
Number one, I'm assuming you bought this bottle.
I did, yes.
Do you have other 4 gates as well?
Nope.
So this is just me knowing the price point of 4 gates and maybe the target market of 4 gates. I could see some of the bedazzled jean wearing folks not being very happy with this at all.
I can see that. That's a step up. I feel like this might be more of a step outside their norm too.
So I bought this for 2 reasons. I had batch 1, which was finished in sherry rum casks. Okay. And it was, if you liked sweet whiskey, phenomenal. Like fat kid tasting note playground, like, oh my goodness. And then this was batch 2, and it did not sell well at a liquor store that I frequented. So they ended up selling it 75% off.
There you go.
So I was like, hell yeah, this is my chance to own a 4-gate. Like, I'm all in for that. And I bought it, and I was like, at the time, not a gin drinker whatsoever. Like, if you passed it near me, I'd be like, thank you. That's mildly insulting. And like, give it back. Now I drink gin a little bit, and it's like, okay, I see, like, I get it, as opposed to just being revolted. But that being said, it is absolutely an exercise in, like, know your customer base and restraint, right? Because gin is a very powerful flavor, and you can very easily overwhelm. And just like with spice, if you're used to it, you're used to it. Other people are not.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those things like if you're finishing it and you go over by a little bit and you pull it, it just is the way it is. You can't go back. And with some of I know how quickly some of the other barrels will impart flavor, or how short a time some of them are in finishing barrels. I mean, a couple of them are only like 10 days to a month, depending upon what it is. Some much longer, but depending upon what it is, that's a short time frame to be on top of something. That almost makes that project number 1 for the next 2 weeks when you're done.
Oh yeah.
So like you said, it's a wonderful exercise. But I'm going back to the rye one. That was fucking neat ride.
I like this one. These are all good rides, and I think this more so. If we would have done these with the other 4, I think it would have just gotten really weird.
But well, that was the point of these 3, was to be really weird.
Yeah,
so.
but I think these 3 paired very well together as far as what they did with the flavors, and I I did like them all, and I'm going to go back to each one strictly by itself, not having anything else before or after. But this one, like if I went somewhere and I tried this, I'd be like, where's that liquor store? Because I want to go get some. Because this would be a lot of fun, especially at that price. But it'd be a lot of fun to pull on people. It's like, oh, you like bourbon? Try this, and then have them go, what the hell is that? Because it's not bourbon. There's no bourbon on the palate. Like,
no.
Period. It is bourbon in color alone, and that's it.
Like you said, what cocktail would you use it in?
That's to me, this is an ice cube cocktail. Like you get a chunkin' big ice cube, you sit out on the deck on a hot day, and you get way more blitz than you were planning because you forgot it was 120.3 proof.
But what about taking this and like rimming your glass with different types of citrus and seeing which one worked with this? Do a lime, do an orange, do a lemon.
Maybe the orange port pulls out the curacao more.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
Okay.
Or even rimming it with chocolate.
Well, nibs barrel. Just throw some chocolate in the glass at that point. So
yeah.
Oh, chocolate with whiskey. That never hurt the whiskey.
Super interesting.
Pat's over here with Hershey's Kisses, like in his.
What are you doing? Just one little corner.
Yeah. Take all your Halloween candy and smash it in there.
Oh, you guys said you wanted
half off Halloween candy this year. I'm so sad.
You did say something about like peanut butter whiskey. I can make that. A Reese's Fat Wash. Just think about that instead of just
don't stop there. Do the Reese's Bacon Fat Wash. Well, if you're gonna do it, right? Like that is, I can only imagine just how many pounds I would gain and memories I would lose with that whiskey.
Well, I'm just thinking of a drink. Because I like chocolate covered bacon. Imagine that was like a strip of peanut butter down the middle of that.
So we need to have some cocktails. Next time we're together, we need to do cocktails. Shit. And if Shannon's around, we're gonna try to do some fun Bloody Marys too.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a tall Bloody Mary. You can just have a
very small one. And there's lots of different flavors you can get out of them. Like you said, I like the Bloody Mary contest. They'll have them that travel throughout Wisconsin, and it'll be like part of a Sunday, and there's 20, 30 different participants, and they all have little different versions of Bloody Marys.
So
it'd be interesting.
Mike and I went to Bluegrass, right, with Kevin and Morgan. We got there first, and they were like, "Oh, you want a cocktail while we wait?" And I was like, "Why not?" Right? So we looked, and it was like, "Oh yeah, they have Bloody Marys. Like it's still the morning. Why don't we start with a Bloody Mary?" And they had pickle whiskey that they were supposed to make it out of, but they didn't have enough. So they were like, "Well." They had enough for like one of those 1/4 ounce taster glasses, and they're like, "You can just have this to try it, because it's not gonna like come through the Bloody Mary at all." And they're like, "What do you want to make it with?" And we're like, "Well, I mean, what do you got?" And they're like, "How about Toasted Barrel?" And we were like, "Yeah, all right, that's good."
Hey, usually a good whiskey or a good spirit doesn't make a bad cocktail.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was not upset about it.
Yeah.
You're usually not going to have a problem with like, "Oh, this is really good." If I mix it in something, it turns out poor. Very rarely. Yeah. Very, very rarely.
And we did have, when we were camping a couple weeks ago with the smoky Bloody Marys, a friend had made breakfast burritos and had smoky Bloody Mary with breakfast burrito. It was delicious.
I'm just saying burritos from McDonald's that were like $1.50. Because
what happened?
The reason I'm saying that is because I feel like at this in particular moment they would be the perfect edible stirrer for a Bloody Mary. What are you doing today? Like, what are you stirring that with? A McBreakfast burrito?
You better just pull it out.
What do you have? Celery?
Yeah.
So last season.
Oh, I heard that Toasted Barrel from Bluegrass was fantastic.
Or
at least that pick was. I heard that was.
So the
I'm-
toasted barrel from Westport, I'm pretty sure, is a blue corn toasted barrel, whereas the one they had was just a regular bourbon in a toasted barrel, which is why I think it's interesting.
The one that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is toasted. It is toasted oak. Toasted oak.
Emily's got a good point here. A taquito stir.
Yeah, I would add
That actually sounds like it would hold up for a while, you know?
Ooh, what about this? Taquito straw.
I don't know how that works.
You just got to bore it out.
Now I feel like you're going for the hot dog straw, and I don't think that should be.
Now that's just gross.
Yeah, that shouldn't be anywhere.
Slim Jim.
That's an abomination.
Yes, Mitch is right.
I'm on the blend, by the way.
Okay.
So, Mike, is yours a blend of all three?
It is the blend of all three. I had to redo my previous blend because I was wrong.
My bad.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
That's my fault for assuming.
The blue corn at this point, I'm intrigued by it. This when we talked to like Gary from Woodhead is, I feel like a dick, but I kind of always want to ask, what blue corn are you using? You know, and to the point where there's a bunch of different varietals.
Gary, yeah, he'll tell you straight up exactly which one. Actually, I used to know that because I have a bag of it ground up.
I did too. I made grits with it. No, I made cornbread with mine.
Yeah,
so I specifically drank as much Foregate as I could, and it still takes over the blend for me.
It does in like it starts to in the mid palate, and then the finish it takes over. And I have equal amounts of all three.
Okay, we'll try.
I don't dislike this.
That's fine.
It's not bad. It's not balanced.
You did rye and brew together?
Just rye and brew.
All
The
right.
chocolatey stout and what was going on in the rye plays really well together. I can't smell for shit for some reason at this point. But
Did you see that Gary Woodhat posted advertising? You can buy barrels.
no, I didn't know he was doing barrels.
Selling
I thought
you,
it was just
he's
bottles
selling
or
you
whatever.
whiskey by the barrel. That you buy the barrel, you come and bottle it. You can take it home. Cast strength, however you choose. And it was all varieties.
Hey, Morgan, you know how you were asking what I wanted for Christmas? And I said whiskey, and you went, other than whiskey, I want a barrel from Woodhat.
We'll have to see. They don't always do the full 53s. I would be intrigued.
They don't have a lot of 53s.
And they had that orange flint. I wonder if they would be willing after another whichever time it's sitting to part with something like that.
That freaking orange flint. It was like orange popsicle, and then this one person, he goes, now orange Julius. And that was at 1 year. It was like, Gary, bottle it now. Bottle this right now. It was crazy good. I think if Neil's still on there, I think Neil got to have some of it too.
Yeah, well, that's something to take it'd be something to take a look at, because there's some really good. Yeah, there's good stuff sitting down there. Not just that, if he's willing to do cordials and other weird stuff too, that would be fantastic.
I still need to just go out there and spend too much money.
I don't spend too much money.
You should. If you
want
to go there, like a meet it there on a Saturday or something, let me know, because we can.
Yeah, we could make it a trip and ask him if we could use his grill. The fucking Death Star, 1,500-pound grill in the backyard, so that no one will take it.
Hey, yeah, he made it heavy enough so nobody would steal it.
It's fucking awesome.
It's round. It's a sphere.
Yeah, it's the Death Star. It's fucking great.
I'll see what we can make happen, but work is now 6 days a week.
Yeah.
So
There's nowhere to stay there in New Florence, so you would most likely drive there and then go back and stay somewhere outside of St. Louis, which is still fine. But
I'm okay with the St. Louis trip. I was gonna say there's a lot going on out there. Well, if you go see him, how far away is? I'd have to take a look at the map.
Edelbrand.
I was gonna say, I'm like, where's Edelbrand from there? I'm
Got
like,
to go back to.
I think it's
I've got to go to and get more.
north,
Yeah.
right? So we'll take a look at that. I'd be okay with doing a trip there for that, and maybe picking one too. That's
My problem is trying to not spend that much money, but I'm going to go there and it's going to be like, well, I'm trying desperately to keep it below $1,000, but I don't know if I can.
I talked to Lynn from Edelbrand last week. She said that they had gone up to Spirits Fest in Chicago area.
Yep, I saw
And
they did that.
They got hooked up with a buyer from Benny's, came to them and was like, "We want to carry your stuff." And she was like, "Well, we can provide this much stuff." But so Benny's wants to carry their stuff in just a small handful of stores. And she's like, "Shit."
Hey,
Good problem to have, but still a problem.
I know. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they only carried it in one or two stores, the fact that they would have it there is that's pretty cool.
That's the whole reason you go to one of those shows in the first place, is to have people try something and go, shit.
Yeah, and she wants information from Fred about getting into Distill America. So
I can make that happen.
So I went back to the blend of all three. I did try the blend of the two. The blend of the two was fine. But there's that citrus funkiness that's coming across from that 4-gate. It's still there on the blend of three. I dig it because it's just different.
Yeah. Bouncing
and
back
now I'm getting chocolate.
Yeah, bouncing back between the two after going from the blend to that one, much better. Like coming off of 4-gate to the blend, the 4-gate was in the prominence. Now it's mixed a little better, and it's like it is providing that citrus lift that the other ones needed.
Yeah, I'll believe you.
Okay,
It's good.
Sorry, I'm just teasing. No, but these are good.
There's Neil.
What?
I said, "There's Neil."
Oh,
I think Neil's gotten to try it a couple times. I'm putting this back up there again, so anyone who hasn't done it, to go, please check that out.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that if it is, even if it's a smaller barrel, it can age anywhere. It doesn't have to just be there, right? I mean, maybe they have to bottle it beforehand. I don't know. I don't know how I hate bullshit.
I believe Gary has been smart enough to know, like when it first came out, that was like, okay, right off the bat, it's really good. As he said, if it makes good cornbread, it'll make good whiskey. So tried it off the bat, liked it, let it age for a little bit. It was okay. He was fine with it. Shared it with people at 1 year, and everyone who tried it was like, bottle it, Gary. You should bottle this now. And I don't know where he's at with it at this point, but I do need to get back out there. So anyway, but and please do donate this to Emily if you can, to help out, because Emily is actually going to be helping out somebody else when doing that. So
that is the whole point. So, all right, we are rolling up on an hour or just over it, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. And luckily tonight, that's all the whiskeys we have.
Darn.
Fit right into an hour. So like a glove. Perfect. Excuse me. So next week, I'm working on something for next week. There's an option where we're pushing back a certain cocktail competition that we were gonna do. We're looking for. We want to have it just right, and
we could preview.
We can preview it to people. We're gonna move it back though. I want to. That's a fight. This could be a weekend too. Besides the Bloody Marys, this could be a legit cocktail contest.
I agree.
Yeah. Also, for Emily stuff.
That's right.
And I did, and share that. Yeah, copy it, share it. I did share it with some others, so hopefully they'll be putting it on their shows as well. So please do.
Sorry, I just had to get that one. Drank the wrong glass there, but that's okay. So, hey, it's not. It's better than some other things I've had, but
that was my first reaction, and also my first reaction to Pete. Like, what?
Oh, Pete, I had it was Lafroig 10, and that thing caught me just the right way.
Oh.
And I wouldn't have thought so because of the iodine note and stuff. I wouldn't have thought I liked it.
Mm.
And the way I first described it was, this smells like a dirty old hospital that used that shitty cleaning product, like from the 40s or 50s, and when the doctors were still allowed to smoke while they were doing surgery on you. Like
the good old days.
this and a burnt tire. That's what I'm getting out of it. And I'm like,
yeah.
But I really like it. What the fuck?
The doc's doing open heart surgery with a 3-inch ash hanging out of his mouth while he's talking.
He asked for help from the nurse, and that's for an ashtray.
My first peated whiskey was Isla Storm from Trader Joe's, which was not good.
Okay, I thought you were going to be like Talisker Storm, and I was like, you know what? For what it was, I really liked that one.
No, this was like $17 for a blended malt.
You got what you paid for.
I absolutely did. I still have that bottle.
Yeah,
and that's like a 7-8-year-old bottle now. And
oh
it's
wow!
Still barely past the neck.
Yeah.
I just have very bad memories of it. So like it's one of those things that it doesn't matter if it was like really good. It's
not
just
going back.
Forever seared in my memory is absolutely terrible.
What about using it for cheap smoky cokes, but instead of doing smoky coke, do like some sort of off-brand pop, like Dr. Thunder from Walmart or something like that.
Well, my wife drinks that sativa stuff where it's like it's healthy soda. Supposedly, it doesn't have anything to it, but the flavors are just a little titch off. There's no food coloring. Everything's the same color. It's clear. Tastes different. Hey, red dye number 3 and my favorite yellow dye number 7 from Mountain Dew, which is fantastic when it's ice cold, but after it warms up, it's horrible.
Oh no, Shannon, you terrible human being! You. Oh my God, why would you do that to people?
Orange Shasta and peated whiskey.
Shame.
Peach knee high and peated scotch. If I had peach knee high, I would try it.
Tab.
That's awesome.
My high school Spanish teacher drank Tab religiously. Like she drank like 3 tabs a day, didn't take lunch. Like, I don't know how she made it.
But probably didn't drink coffee though.
That's funny, Spence. Because
he's not super wrong. Like my memory of it is going, what the this? What went no? And then throwing the rest of the glass away.
See, my Talisker Storm I liked it, and then I was like breathing out campfire for like the rest of the day at work, just like in my nostrils, coming out of me. It was just like campfire smoke. I got home and was, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, this is still with me right now. I'm pretty sure if I breathe on you, it's going to be like a cloud, like Puff the Magic Dragon coming in."
So whiskey is one of those things where like most of my life I'm willing to like go the cheap route, go the off-brand route, sacrifice a little bit for that, save that money. No, not with that.
Well, there's got to be some lines and rules.
Yeah, that's like one of. So that was what I used to joke. There's 3 whiskeys I won't drink. That's one, because of my first experience with it. Have y'all ever seen that? Like it's like a TikTok, but it predates TikToks. It's like a sorority girl, and she's very drunk, and she's like, "I was okay until that last shot. I didn't know it was tequila," you know, and she like says it just like that, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that should be the only way people are allowed to say tequila now, like tequila, you know. And that's how I feel about Isla Storm. Is it's like, yeah, I thought it was great till I found out it was made of Isla Storm, you know, like it's just.
What you should use it to make some whiskey pickles with it.
No.
No.
Like, I'll
I
give it away.
heard of that, and it's actually I heard that's not bad.
I mean,
I've done the whiskey pickles since they did the episode. I've done them several times, and peated whiskey pickles. I dig it a lot, and everybody else is like, and take those and make them, and then put those on a pulled pork sandwich, but don't tell anyone what it is. And then you put it, and then they eat it. They're like, "What in the hell is going on with these pickles?" Yeah, really good.
I like that.
mean, yeah, sounds great. Just we don't need to do. There are some weird things that I can never have again for the rest of my life. Isla Storm, Dunkaroos, like
Vegemite.
I'd have
Never had Vegemite. Oh.
Never had Vegemite. Also, Morgan was trying to give away my Malort.
How dare she?
Yeah, you gotta
First
keep
of all,
that.
I have been trying to get Malort for a long effing time. I had to get it in Wisconsin and bring it back to Kentucky because I couldn't find it in any liquor stores here. And she's like, "No, it's just, it's a dirty Santa. We can give away
like
one
chartreuse.
of your
It's
bad
hard to
bottles with
find."
Malort." And it's like, "Don't you touch my Malort. Thank you very much. That's imported from Wisconsin."
Should make
Illinois.
Malort pickles.
They would probably be really good.
They'd
honestly.
probably be really good. Yeah.
I don't know if I can get behind it. I mean, I'll try one, but that would have to be. Do you think you would put a Malort pickle inside of a Bloody Mary?
Oh, I bet that would be really good.
I might make some because we're due to make some pickles again.
I'm just
I might have to make a small batch.
See, she knows. Yeah.
So
My sister lived in Australia for a few years, and my nephew went there, and he came back, and they brought Vegemite because that's what he wanted. No, that is not like peanut butter, and the country of Australia should be smited for that type of comparison. That's fucked up.
Back in the day on Distillers Talk, Alan used to talk about how much he loved pickled eggs and how one of the barrel reps would like bring him some pickled eggs every once in a while, and he would just tear into them at an unhealthy rate, and then like nearly kill his father on the drive home through no fault of his own. Throw some Malort and then pickled eggs. Give them to Alan. See what he does with them.
Some Malort eggs.
I mean, could be amazing. Could kill him.
I think you're gonna hear that noise. That noise.
If you're eating pickled eggs, though, I mean, come on.
Well, you kind of are in. You're all in at that point, right?
Exactly.
Especially if you're the type where you're sticking your hand into the thing to get your pickled egg. It's not like someone's getting it. You're jamming your hand in there to grab your own.
Well, especially if you're moving the other pickled body parts out of the way to get to your egg, then that's just.
So, something weird about being in the South. Like, pickled eggs weren't as big where I was from. Kool-Aid pickles were big where I was from.
Kool-Aid pickles.
So you literally
just red or
yeah, you put like packets of cherry Kool-Aid into the pickle juice, and then you let it set in the fridge for a month, and it turns completely red, and you got Kool-Aid pickles.
Crazy.
Okay.
Not a fan
too, so not like
I
a
don't
short
like
time.
Kool-Aid that much, but if you're interested in doing weird things with pickles,
I think that's a whole nother show. You're canning of a pickle show. I don't know. It sounds dumb, but I really think that could.
Let's
Think
do
about
the
that with just a Bloody Mary, like that little nuanced difference. and how much a pickle can suck up flavor wise, I could distort a drink a bit. I'm intrigued. Unsweet Kool-Aid for pickles.
Yeah, the packets, not the stuff with sugar in it. The packets.
Like Emily was like, "Yep, that's a thing."
Or use
I'm
it for
glad someone's
breading.
backing me up on it being a thing. Not that they're good, that it's a thing, right?
That's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. It might be good too. I'm not going to say it's not. I haven't had it.
I will. I'm 100% say I've had that and I did not enjoy it.
But here's the recipe just so you can find out.
There's a lot of things I don't like. Most vegetables, like all that stuff. But I mean, shit. I'm not going to be there telling people they're wrong.
You're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah, even if it sucks.
All right. Well,
and on that note,
and your childhood nickname was Pickle. There's a whole other story.
Oh, see. Now we're getting into
cookies
nicknames.
Cookies and whiskey. That we had the discussion. Maybe holiday cookies. We're going to be rolling into Christmas. Girl Scouts almost too easy,
So holiday cookies, Snickerdoodle.
Okay.
So my mom does the ones where it's either Kisses or Rolos in peanut butter cookies. Like
that's fair. I like those.
Yep.
What are the other Christmas cookies? Because to me, those are the only Christmas cookies.
We were classic with frosting,
there's the buttery cookies. Yeah. There's just ones that are little small chocolate ones that have powdered sugar on them.
That's true.
Oh, ginger snaps would be Christmas.
That too. There's a whole list. My mom used to make me cook all day, but then again, the thing we did the most of was chocolate covered peanut butter balls, which are fantastic. My recipe my mom used to call for Rice Krispies. My wife's side calls for graham crackers. I'm going to be making a mix of said because there's a different texturing to it, but the graham crackers add a neat flavor. Sorry, we're big on peanut butter balls here.
You should have those at your wedding.
Well, we did that already. Oh. Ooh.
So if y'all have all these near you, get Pfeffernusse. Oh my God, get Pfeffernusse. Holy crap, are they the best?
Okay, I'll have to look at those.
Oh my God. So they're soft gingerbread cookies with a thin icing. And then, so there's multiple different ones, but the ones I like have a wafer thin, like wafer on the bottom of them that you eat with it. And I don't know what it is, but I love it. I like it. I don't know, right? Like maybe it's taking me back to communion and, when I was 6 at Catholic school, but like, so good. And then they'll sell, like mini Pfeffernusse and all that stuff, but just the soft gingerbread cookies with a super like thin vanilla icing on it. Ooh.
Okay.
Like Emily is going with oatmeal cookies and butterscotch chips. I like that. Shannon, I like your idea. We might have to do that. It might be a before Christmas thing. Maybe we'll send out everyone Christmas cookies like the week beforehand.
Oh man, send out Christmas cookies sample to go with them. Oh, that's an idea there.
You know what I mean?
Everybody makes one cookie, like your cookie.
Yeah, and then you send that like a couple of those out to each person with a sample.
My problem is mine is Pfeffernusse, and I don't make Pfeffernusse. I buy Pfeffernusse.
Well, that's not the end of the world. I'm not going to be, as long as it's good, I'm not going to be upset in the end. So I like that. I think maybe we'll have to. I like the My Whiskey Den cookie exchange. Good.
So Spencer, it starts with a P, and it's very German. So it's like PFEFFERNUSE or something like that.
The P is silent, like in pterodactyl and swimming.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're going to hop off for the evening. I still have a little work to do here. Sadly, I have some painting to do. I got to get it covered up. But make sure you stop out next week for our show on Monday night. And then I'm going to be trying to get Ryan maybe from Jay Rieger on. I was going to say before we have our tailgate tasting during the Kansas City game that weekend. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit before, maybe a little bit after. I'm hoping before. So hopefully we'll get that nailed down in the next couple days with him, and we'll get that set aside. So what do you do? Oh, my God. I don't know what she put up here, but News. That's the name of it. Okay.
Yes. And that's my pronunciation of it. It's probably not correct because I speak like 4 words in German and none of them are Pfeffernuss.
Well, I'm excited for it. So, all right, folks, you guys all have a good night. Check the website. We will put something up here about the Christmas cookie tasting. I think that's a wonderful idea. You have to put your name in, see how many other people are involved. Might end up making a double batch of cookies, but I think it'll be a damn good time. So, if remember, it's not what is it? It's not the love of whiskey.
It's not the size of the den.
I don't. We need a different thing. That one's bugging me.
Remember, friendship should be like pee in your pants. Everyone can see it, but only you can feel its true warmth. Cheers.
Cheers.